This is Coffee with the Councilman. My name is Logan Kaler, Greg Picklap, as always. So today we're going to be discussing the recent resigning of a 4th Ward Council member, Kevin Hicks. So in this situation, there is a proper procedure that needs to be taken, and we have Greg here today who's going to be laying out exactly how it's handled, his experience with this as it's happened a couple times in his term, and then if you live in the 4th Ward, you can apply. You could be the next councilman if you're interested. And I think from here we're gonna let Greg take the floor. Go ahead and tell us.
You mentioned my previous history with this. This is actually the 3rd time I've had to go through this as a council member. First time was another resignation, also in the 4th Ward, and then there was another special appointment we had to make several years ago with a death. Fender Stevenson in the 1st Ward when he passed away unexpectedly. So this will be my 3rd time doing it, and the process never gets any easier because you hate having to do this. But at the same time, it does create an opportunity for anyone in the 4th Ward that wants to sign up and participate and have the option to serve the remaining part of the term. So the biggest thing I need to emphasize, though, is that this is only until November, because that ward on the city election cycle is up this year. So any special appointment made is still going to have to, they have the option to run for the election for a full 4-year term, but it will have to be up for election in November.
So what's the process like? Say someone was interested in becoming the next councilman.
We're going to be, we publicized it on social media. I believe we gave it information to the BNR as well. I have it on my social medias, and so a couple other council members do. And what's going to happen is that if you have an interest in serving and you live in the 4th Ward, you have to have your resume and any stated qualifications you wish to show us, and by me and us, I mean mayor and council, by March 22nd, 12 p.m. at City Hall. And what will happen at that time is that they will all be collected and then given to council for our April 1st meeting. Yeah. And I am well prepared for the jokes to happen on April 1st. So the key thing to remember is that at the full council meeting, every interested party will be able to have the opportunity to speak on their behalf and answer any questions as well.
Yeah. So I've been attending the city council meetings for quite a while now, and I've met each of you guys, and I've learned that everyone has their own diverse background. What kind of qualifications would be looked at as higher than others to serve in a role like this?
My previous cases, when I've had to look at an appointment process, I've looked at it basically 3 things. Usually I get the question of political affiliation. Not relevant to me when it comes to a city municipal election. We're nonpartisan. Doesn't matter what political side you stand on. Not relevant. The second thing I would bring up is that you have to be willing to provide the time. A lot of people I talk to assume it's just the 2 meetings a month when it comes to council. Depending what committees you serve on or additional boards or special task force, you could be serving unknown amount of hours serving the community in other ways that might not be known until you get to the regular council meetings. So you might have to serve on 1 or 2 committees. You have to serve an additional task force or additional projects to help out staff, and then you have to be willing to put in the time, because that is what we're there for, is to help the community and serve and do our due diligence. And then the third thing I would point out is that to make them aware of how we're supposed to work towards the entire community, even if we're in a ward. Both my previous cases, they've both been ward council appointments. So even as a ward council member, you have to make sure you serve the entire community.
Right. So as this position is open until the dates when it closes off, who fills the hole? Who fills his position? Who takes over until then?
Until that time, the seat will remain vacant. You mentioned qualifications. We have a very diverse council, especially age-wise, job-wise, business and experience. We also have need to have everyone on deck. So that seat will remain open until April 1 at least. But there's also the second option that we haven't talked about yet, which means a petition process.
Yeah.
So even if we go through the appointment process, a petition can be forced by a number of signatures in the 4th Ward, percentage-wise of the last election, and then they can go to a special election. And then the process goes out even longer, but there'll still be no one representing at that time. The last thing, is that the cost will be passed on to the city for a special election. So between a couple $1,000s, I believe, is what it's going to cost if we have the special election in.
And how long does a special election run for?
That would be guidelined by the county auditor and the election process and how long the timelines have to be set up. The key thing about that, though, is that the cost would be sent to the city for the full election, and then by the time we did that, we'd have to go and repeat the whole process again citywide for the normal elections coming up in November. And I do know this year, especially with the new combined elections, in the past it used to be school board elections in September, city elections in November. Now they're all in one. So now we have school board, city elections in November, and our jurisdictions overlap. So there's special things the county auditor's got to do for different parts of it. So it will be a learning process for this first year as well.
Okay, so how about somebody who is interested? What advice would you give to them as a tenured councilman yourself?
I would suggest anyone that's interested in serving for the appointment or looking even into November when they want to run for full office, I always reach out and ask previous council members and also current council members, because we gladly answer any questions you have. And if you have a question, how much time, special projects you wish to participate on, how you wish to move forward in certain areas, you might bring an idea that we haven't even considered before on something, or you might bring an idea that we're in the process of doing. It helps knowing what's going on, so that way you know how to work your system into your campaign. The key thing is also too is that always be open to learning. This is an on-the-job learning process, and I've been doing this now for my 3rd term, and I'm still learning how everything's going on. So it's never ending when it comes to that.
Cool. All right, this has been Coffee with the Councilman, Greg Picklap, Logan Kaler. Thanks for watching.